Hello and a very good evening. Welcome to our continued coverage of Budget Matters right here on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today reached out to all the vulnerable sections of society as he presented the Union Budget. Budget 2018-19 is aimed at building a new modern India by sincerely addressing inherited deficits in health, education, agriculture and infrastructure sectors, besides addressing vulnerabilities of various sections through individual benefit. It's a caring India budget for a growing India, announcing major allocations to develop agricultural markets, expand irrigation schemes and animal husbandry and fisheries. He set the minimum support price for the Kharif crop at 1.5 times the price of production. The government also announced the world's biggest health protection scheme. 10 crore families and a net population of 50 crores are all set to get healthcare benefits, with each family being reimbursed 5 lakh rupees in medical coverage annually. Coming to tax rates, Jaitley kept income tax rates unchanged, while allowing a standard deduction of 40,000 rupees in place of the exemption in transport and medical expenses. Micro, small and medium scale enterprises will benefit from the tax rates. Tax rates have been reduced by 25% for units with a turnover of 250 crore rupees. Meanwhile, of course, there was something for the senior citizens and pensioners as well. Interest income exemption was increased to 50,000 rupees for all fixed and RD schemes, including small savings. Well, let's now break down for you the sector-wise allocations in the budget. Well, in the health sector, the government launched the National Health Protection Scheme. The scheme provides cover to over 10 crore poor and vulnerable families. The scheme provides coverage of up to 5 lakh rupees per family per year. 1,200 crore rupees allocated for health and wellness centers. Meanwhile, in education sector, an integrated B.Ed program to improve quality of teachers was introduced. The education system to move gradually from blackboard to digital board. Eklavya schools to be set up for scheduled tribes in every block with more than 50% ST population, at least 20,000 tribal persons as well. The schools will be at par with Navodaya Vidyalayas. Well, the government has proposed to launch a major initiative revitalizing infrastructure and systems in education, RISE, by 2022 with a total investment of 1 lakh crore rupees in the next 4 years. The aim to provide free LPG connection to 3 crore more poor women as well. Free connections given to 5 crore women under the Ujjwala Yojana. 16,000 crore rupees being spent on free electricity connections to 4 lakh families. The process to help farmers sell surplus solar power to distribution companies has also been announced. The budget also sounded relief for senior citizens with exemption of interest income on deposits raised to 50,000 rupees. The limit of deduction for health insurance premium was raised to 50,000 from the existing 24,000 rupees. The limit of deduction for medical expenditure also was raised. Limit on investment in Prime Minister Vaya Vandana Yojana was up to 15 lakh rupees. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said the budget will strengthen the aspirations of the people of the country. He also said it is development friendly and will help realize the dream of a new India. He said the budget is aimed at ease of living.
वित्त मंत्री श्रीमान अरुण जेटली जी को और उनकी पूरी टीम को इस बजट के लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। ये बजट न्यू इंडिया की नींव को सशक्त करने वाला बजट है। देश के एग्रीकल्चर से लेकर के देश के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तक हर बात पर पूरा ध्यान दिया गया है। गरीब और मध्यम वर्ग की चिंताओं को दूर करने वाली हेल्थ की योजनाएं हैं, आरोग्य की योजनाएं हैं, तो देश के छोटे उद्यमियों की वेल्थ बढ़ाने के वाली भी योजनाएं शामिल है। फूड प्रोसेसिंग से लेकर के फाइबर ऑप्टिक्स तक, सड़क से लेकर के शिपिंग तक, युवा से लेकर के सीनियर सिटीजन तक, ग्रामीण भारत से लेकर आयुष्मान भारत तक, डिजिटल इंडिया से लेकर के स्टार्टअप इंडिया तक, यह बजट देश के 125 करोड़ लोगों की आशा अपेक्षाओं को मजबूत करने वाला बजट है। उनकी लागत का 1.5 गुना मूल्य दिलवाने की घोषणा मैं वित्त मंत्री जी विशेष रूप से सराहना करता हूं। सीनियर सिटीजन के योगदान की वंदना मैं एक बार फिर वित्त मंत्री और उनकी पूरी टीम को ईज ऑफ लिविंग बढ़ाने वाले और न्यू इंडिया की नींव को और मजबूत करने वाले इस बजट के लिए हृदय से बहुत बधाई देता हूं। मैं उनका अभिनंदन करता हूं और देश विकास की नई ऊंचाइयों को पार करेगा, ये मेरा विश्वास इस बजट के बाद और मजबूत हुआ है।
Meanwhile, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has said that India is firmly on course to achieving over 8% growth and becoming the world's 5th largest economy. Addressing a post-budget press conference, he said that the government's focus was to provide benefits to the poor sections of society.
जो आर्थिक दृष्टि से कमजोर हैं, उनकी सहायता की जाए। और वैसे भी सरकार का एक प्रयास रहा है कि कई योजनाओं के माध्यम से हम उस वर्ग की विशेष रूप से सहायता करने का प्रयास करते हैं। इसमें उज्ज्वला योजना की संख्या 8 करोड़ कर देना और जो मेगा हेल्थ स्कीम हम लोगों ने अनाउंस की है, मुझे लगता है वो बहुत बड़ी योजना है और उस योजना के तहत देश के 10 करोड़ परिवारों को चुनना, वो एक सामाजिक क्राइटेरिया, आर्थिक क्राइटेरिया अवेलेबल रहता है जिसके माध्यम से उसका चयन होगा। हमने ये भी कहा है कि इसका सफलता पे निर्भर करते हुए आगे इसको यूनिवर्सल किया जाए और एक 5 लाख तक का सालाना इंश्योरेंस कवर हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन का उनको मिले, एक प्रयास है। जितनी योजनाएं हैं उसके ऊपर जितना एक्सपेंडिचर मेंटेन करना था किया है। इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एक बहुत बड़ी प्राथमिकता सरकार की है और उस इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में ग्रामीण सड़कें, हाईवेज, रेलवेज, पोर्ट्स, एयरपोर्ट्स, ये सब प्राथमिकता के अपने केंद्र रहे हैं।
Well, in the meantime, of course, on how the common people reacted to the budget, our correspondent Shyam Sundar gets us the latest.
सुखबीर सिंह जी, खरीफ की फसल का न्यूनतम समर्थन मूल्य 1.5 गुना बढ़ाने की बात वित्त मंत्री जी ने कही है।
इसके बारे में हम वित्त मंत्री जी का धन्यवाद करते हैं। किसान की आमदनी भी 1.5 गुना बढ़ेगी और आगे भी भविष्य में भी ऐसे ही करते रहें सरकार के लिए, तो ये बहुत अच्छा रहेगा।
विक्रम सिंह जी, कई और बड़ी घोषणाएं की हैं। मसलन पहले क्रेडिट कार्ड सिर्फ किसानों को मिलता था जिनके पास जमीन होती थी, अब जो पशुपालन करते हैं उनको भी क्रेडिट कार्ड मिलेगा किसानों का। इसको किस तरह से देखते हैं?
ये हम सरकार का धन्यवाद करते हैं इस बारे में, जो कि भूमि किसान को भी क्रेडिट कार्ड उपलब्ध करा है, जो कि अपने बैंक से क्रेडिट कार्ड पे लोन लेके दुधारू पशु पालन करके अपना खर्चा चला सके। इसलिए हम अरुण जेटली जी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करते हैं।
तो संजू, आपको बजट में कौन सी ऐसी घोषणा जो खेती किसानी के लिए की गई है जो आपको सबसे बेहतरीन लगी?
ऐसा है, हम धन्यवाद करते हैं सरकार का। ज्यादा फोकस किसानों पे रखा अब की बार बजट में, और जो पहले कभी नहीं हुआ था, जो डबल घोषणाएं की हैं, जो डबल बजट बताया है, जैसे प्रोसेसिंग वाला है, उस फूड प्रोसेसिंग वाला है, उसमें 700 से 1400 करोड़ कर दिया है। और जो ये जो बिचौलिया जो ये मंडी वाला सिस्टम किया है, उससे तो बहुत ही फायदा किसानों को मिलेगा। बहुत अच्छा बजट है हमारे लिए, तो किसानों के लिए पहली बार ऐसा बजट खुल के आया है।
सर, मेरा नाम कपिल है।
जी कपिल जी, आप बजट की घोषणाओं को किस तरह से देखते हैं? क्या आप मानते हैं कि ये किसानों की हालत को बदलने वाला बजट होगा?
जी सर, बिल्कुल होगा, क्योंकि ई मंडी की सहायता से, मतलब जैसे हम लोग आड़ती का सहारा लेते थे, वो आड़ती का सहारा अब नहीं रहेगा, और सीधे हम अपनी भाव मंडी में फसलें आराम से बेच पाएंगे, और उससे काफी मदद मिलेगी।
जी, यहाँ
जी, सरकार के इस फैसले से हम काफी एग्री हैं।
अच्छा पुष्पलता जी, जो फसलों के दाम 1.5 गुना करने की बात कही है और उसके अलावा भी और कई घोषणाएं की हैं, किस तरह से देखती हैं बजट को?
सर सरकार ने देर से सोचा लेकिन दुरुस्त सोचा, इसके लिए हम सरकार को, मंत्री जी को धन्यवाद बोलते हैं।
Well, our correspondent Kriti Mishra spoke to Naresh Trehan, Chairman CII Healthcare Council, about his post-budget reaction on the healthcare sector allocations. Let's listen in.
A healthy India will only make a wealthy India, and certainly the budget has paved way for it.
Most definitely. I mean, as I said to you earlier, we are expecting a kickstart to the universal healthcare program, which will give, today they have taken, I'm speechless in a way, because they have taken a step which we never expected. So 5 lakhs for 50 crore people coverage is fantastic. I mean, this is better than any government around the world. So it's a very bold step. Now the details have to be worked out on how the government sector, the private sector, everybody will participate in making this dream a reality.
Dr. Trehan, will I be wrong in saying that Obamacare days are over? It's the reign of Modi care now.
You can say that. I have no hesitation in saying, if we can make it happen, it's Modi care, no question. And he's been silently listening to us. I mean, many times we have said this. Never responded at that point, but this is his typical style, that he will go and give one big hammer and say, move forward. And I think it's up to us now to deliver the goods.
Have we inched closest to universal healthcare system in this country now?
We have started the journey towards universal access today, and I think that we are all enthused. The private sector will participate in making this dream come true.
Thank you so much for talking to us. From Delhi with camera person Jitendra, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
And now a look at what the budget had in store for the taxpayers and the micro and small medium enterprises. 40,000 rupees standard deduction in place of current exemption. Current exemption relates to transport and medical expenses. Senior citizens' interest income of 50,000 rupees exempted. MSMEs with turnover up to 250 crore rupees now to pay only 25% tax. In MSME sector, the government has announced 3,794 crore for credit support, capital, interest subsidy and innovations. Reduced tax rates of 25% also for companies with turnover up to 250 crore rupees. Tax rate to benefit all MSMEs that account for 99% companies filing IT returns. Refinancing policy for MSMEs set by Mudra to be reviewed. Well, our correspondent Amritanshu Rai spoke to Robin Banerjee, MD Caprihans, about capital gain tax and corporate tax in the Union Budget 2018. Let's listen in.
Mr. Banerjee, on the capital gains tax, what actually happened, if you can explain?
In the capital gain tax, the major thing they have done is the share market. The government believes the share market is making a lot of money. People who are investing in shares are returning about 15 to 20% and perhaps not paying much tax. In any case, up to 1 year, which is a short-term period, if you buy a share of 100 rupees and sell within 1 year, in any case you have to pay 30 rupees tax. What used to happen is, if it used to be a long-term tax, that means you are selling after 1 year, the government was collecting 10% tax. So, of course, 30 rupees tax has become 10 rupees tax. However, this budget says you need to share more whenever you have capital gain tax. So I will make it 15%. So in sense, what they are doing is people who are earning money in the share market and perhaps not sharing enough with the environment and the economy, they are saying, sorry guys, you have to share some more with us.
What about the corporate tax? I mean, as per expectations, people were wanting that to happen. Has that happened?
The government had earlier announced that all of us, every corporate will pay only 25% tax. But I don't think the corporates per se were believing that it would happen. Till now, up to 50 crores turnover, corporates were paying 25% tax. And the balance were paying 33 or 35% tax, as the case may be, after surtaxes. Now what the government has done, all companies up to 250 crores turnover will also be eligible for 25% tax, which means that they will have a cash inflow of 7 to 8%, and that they should be able to spend again on fresh investments. So it is good. I think it is the right step because they are going step by step and making maybe next year will be 350 crores, 400 crores, but that's the right step to do so.
What about the cess part? The cess part has gone slightly, above from the normal.
Just for the viewers, cess is something the government adds with a more or less promise that I shall withdraw. For instance, there is a war, they will put a cess on war. There is Swachh Bharat, they will put a cess on it. However, the government in India, once a cess is placed, they never withdraw. Now the cess has become from 3% to 4%. It's additional tax. And of course, people will not be happy to pay any additional money. But that's how it is.
Well, the budget has also provided a boost for the agriculture sector. In the major announcements, the government made for the farmers MSP to be 1.5 times the cost of production. 2,000 crore rupees for upgrading agricultural markets. 200 crore rupees for organized cultivation associated industry. Food Processing Ministry allocation doubled to 1,400 crore rupees. 500 crore rupees allocation for Operation Green. Kisan credit cards extended to fisheries and animal husbandry farmers. 10,000 crore rupees for fisheries, aquaculture and animal husbandry. Credit for agriculture sector raised to 11 lakh crore rupees. Meanwhile, our correspondent Taruna Thakur spoke to Sanjay Bhatia, President FICCI CMSME, about the impact of budget on the agriculture sector. Let's listen in.
Budget is out and it is seen that it is agriculture and rural economy centric. So what is your take on this?
You see, budget of course is agriculture and rural focus, but there is a focus on MSME also in the budget, so which we welcome. The government has tried to address the problem of the cash flow, mainly cash flow of the MSMEs, by setting up, by giving additional 3 lakh crores to Mudra, and also by further extending that income tax concession of 25% from 50 crores to 250 crores. So these will help to ease the cash flow of the MSME sector. They also talked about use of GST data so that the banks can concentrate and focus on the cash flows and give them additional cash or credit so that they don't suffer on that account. I think from that point of view, these are good measures which has been taken by the government.
But there are certain areas like corporate tax and STT like areas where the corporate people are not happy with it. What is your take on it?
Well, corporate people, of course, they were expecting that this 25% tax, corporate tax, would be for everyone. And not that it is restricted to only companies who have a turnover up to 250 crores. So that expectation was there. And so that has not happened because you see the US, they have, Mr. Trump, President, has reduced the corporate taxes to 21%. So in order to be competitive, it's important that Indian corporate tax also goes down.
So how you conclude this budget?
I would say that, I mean, from MSME point of view, budget is good. I would just say that. And from that perspective, because it's not only the corporate tax, but there had been announcement on the additional funding for the food processing sector, which is very important sector for the MSME. They also talked about announcing a defense policy, in particular taking into account that how MSME can benefit of that. Government has set up additional funds for fishery and aquaculture also. This is again an MSME, I would say that take benefit. From that point of view, and e-assessment, of course, which is a welcome thing, which will reduce the contact between the tax department and the industry. I think from that point of view, from MSME if I see from that point of view, it is 8 out of 10. I would give to Mr. Jaitley.
Well, our correspondent Amrutanshu Rai in Mumbai spoke to B. Tyagarajan, co-chairperson CII National Council on Agriculture, for his post-budget reaction on agriculture and rural infrastructure.
Mr. Tyagarajan, how do you see the big spending? It's like big amount being pumped into the rural area. Does it come after a lot of stress generated from that area?
It is remarkable. I would like to thank the Finance Minister on behalf of CII, National Agriculture Council. It is impressive. We have been working on doubling the farmer income program, and many of our recommendations have been taken into consideration. It is laudable that we are taking a big step forward, and it's a quantum change in the approach, and if it is sustained over the next few years, I think the agriculture and food processing footprint of India will dramatically change. So I would also add here, agri-rural food processing infrastructure change will also benefit the corporate sector and the rich. Obviously, it has to flow from there.
Private investment, you mean? The private investment is also likely to follow.
Things. I come from air conditioning industry. More than 60% of our business comes from tier 3, 4, 5 towns already. If farmers' rural development is going to take place, even air conditioner industry, which hitherto is considered as luxury item, is going to benefit. Leave alone the cold chain and refrigeration sector from which we are going to benefit immensely. So if you have to summarize this budget is meant for agri, food processing, rural development, infrastructure development, employment generation.
Well, our correspondent Kriti Mishra spoke to Sunil Munjal, chairman, Hero Enterprises, about the major takeaways from the Union Budget 2018-19. Let's take a listen in.
Joining me is past president of CII, Mr. Sunil Munjal. Welcome to Rajya Sabha Television, sir.
Thank you.
Your biggest takeaway from Budget 2018, because it offers something to everybody.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest takes, is that in a difficult global environment, he's tackled a complex set of issues quite amazingly well. He's made a very wide coverage of areas as diverse as infrastructure, aviation, healthcare, insurance, bond markets. So it's a very wide coverage. And there are 2 or 3 things I particularly like. One is the attempt to dramatically improve quality of life of people of India who live in the rural areas. So the attempt to ensure a certain minimum income to farmers, and then to ensure that that MSP is also available and achieved every time, I think is a good idea. And also focus on education, focus on teachers, focus on creating new medical colleges, healthcare coverage, offering 5 lakh coverage to every family, poor family. I think this is tremendous moves. I also like, incidentally, one more thing, the signal towards concern for the elderly. Because as a nation, we are under-equipped right now to handle the very large population that we are building. We are not just going to become the youngest country in the world. In the next 15 years, we will also be amongst the oldest countries in the world. At this moment, neither our pension retirement plans, nor physical design of buildings, nor our social structure or healthcare is designed to take care of them. So I think that's a welcome move, and I hope in future we will do more and more in that direction.
That's right. But you mentioned about agriculture and MSP. With this agricultural push, there would be increase in rural income, demand, consumption, and thereafter production, which would be extremely beneficial for the industry as well.
Absolutely. Private sector investment has been slow in the last couple of years, and that needs to come back by consumption picking up. We are already seeing early signs in the last couple of months. Consumption has improved in many of the sectors and across many parts of India's geography. So our hope is that the consumption will return quicker rather than later, and the steps that he has taken in the budget, some of them might help trigger it to accelerate the process.
Absolutely. So Mr. Munjal says that this budget was extremely impressive. Thank you so much for talking to Rajya Sabha Television.
Thank you.
From Delhi, with camera person Jitendra, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the Bulletin. But do stay tuned for the big picture coming up on the other side of the short break. We'll talk about the political message coming out of Union Budget 2018-19. Stay tuned. We'll be back after these messages.